We are in a central London hotel, and sitting next to me now is the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest 2015 and co-host of the Eurovision Song Contest 2016, Måns Zelmerlöw.
Good morning.
Måns, good morning and welcome again to London.
Thank you very much.
Now,
good to be
here. In the last 12 months, this is your third or fourth time you've been to London?
Probably fourth or fifth, actually.
Right.
There's been a couple
You've had some trips I don't know about.
Yeah, no, a couple of promo trips, and I did a gig in Heaven in September, I think, and and I'm hoping that I'll get to come here a lot more often in the future.
After you won the Eurovision Song Contest last year in Vienna, you'd already got scheduled a promotion tour at home and in the Scandinavian countries for your new album.
Mm-hmm.
And then you extended the tour, and you've had an absolutely punishing schedule, I think, for about 5 months. Perhaps it'd be easier for you to tell us where you haven't been.
Well, yeah, yeah. I think I've been everywhere almost. To China, to Australia, to most of the countries in Europe, and it's a huge dream come true for me. Just to be able to do a European tour, which I did last fall, was incredible. To be on a tour bus with my band and for 2 months. It was completely incredible. Waking up in a new country, a new city every morning, meeting a new crowd, having fans from all over Europe. It's
and fans from all over the world too.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we got to go on an Australian tour and met some of the fans there, and that's incredible. I'm so happy that Australia actually participated in Eurovision this year, because that opened a door for me there as well.
Exactly. Yes, it's opening a new market for not just for you, but for all the artists who appear on Eurovision.
It does, yeah. And I'm happy they decided to stay in the competition this year.
Was that your first visit to Australia, Måns?
No, my second, actually.
Right.
I was there last year as well.
And, of course, while you were in Australia, you were doing some gigs, and I think you did a couple where you joined in with Guy Sebastian, who was on his tour as well, yeah?
I did, yeah. We became friends during Eurovision in Vienna and met a couple of times at the gym. He's such a great guy, and we started discussing this almost straight after Eurovision, and he asked me if I wanted to come down and do some gigs with him, opening for him, and I really wanted to, and I could bring my band, and we did visited Grafton and Gold Coast, Grafton is a city which I would probably never get to experience otherwise, but I got to go there, and no, I'm really happy for it.
And you enjoy the experience of Australia, and I guess want to go again.
Yeah, I want to move there. I mean, it's
well, but not tell the people in Sweden that, had we?
No, but it is the best country on earth. It's like Sweden, though better. It's like everything that I like about Sweden, they have, and everything I dislike about Sweden, they don't have.
Well, that sounds good to me. Oh no, it's a different song. Now, another thing you did when you were in Australia, you got a sneaky trip in to a little sporting event called the Australian Open Tennis Championship 2016. Tell us about your experience there.
Yeah, I got to open the Australian Open, which is a huge thing for me. I've always wanted to become an athlete. I always wanted to become a tennis pro, and that was probably like entering Rod Laver Arena. Singing there was probably as close to that as I'll ever get.
But you did actually play tennis on the practice course, I think, didn't you?
I did. I played with Jonas Bjorkman and Thomas Johansson, and well, my game wasn't the best that day, but I was happy that I got to be on the courts.
Well, yeah, just to play on the courts with such top players. I mean, that's really excellent. Now, you're a sporting man, as you said, tennis, golf, football. And of course, your dog is named after a famous football player.
Yes, he
Tell us about him.
His name is Messi. He's 3 years old. He's a Labrador, and he's the best.
How does he cope when you keep going away doing gigs in Australia?
I know.
And how do you cope?
Last year wasn't the best year for me as a pet owner. I think I had like 300 traveling days last year. But I think that this year is going to be better, and I try to bring him along on tour when we're in touring in Sweden and Scandinavia. Yeah. But the European tour was a lot more difficult.
Now, tell us a little bit about the Z&B Foundation. You mentioned Jonas Bjorkman and the tennis, and I know he's involved with your foundation as well.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
We started 3 years ago. I was an ambassador for another organization, and they asked me if I wanted to take over one of their schools, and I said yes. Didn't really think about how much that would cost, but after a while I realized that this is 200.
The school is in
South Africa, in the most HIV-infected area of South Africa, called KwaZulu-Natal. And I started a tennis tournament since I wanted to combine my two biggest interests in life, which was music and tennis. And we were able to raise £60,000 or something like that the first year. And Jonas helped me out a lot. So we started, I asked him if he wanted to be a part of the foundation as well. And the next year we were able to double that, and the next year as well. And so now we have 3 schools in KwaZulu-Natal. We have 1 school in Kenya, and we're building one in Ethiopia this year.
Well, that's really good news, and that's taking off so well. And I guess getting funding is always a problem for things like that.
Of course it is. It is. But I'm quite happy that we're not really relying on like funding every month or so. We know that we will make the money we need on our events, but of course we want to create a buffer to be able to have bad events as well in the future, and still be able
be able to fund the schools and the work you're doing there. That's really good. I think I read the other day a really unusual funding thing. You've got a charity burger. Is this correct?
Yeah, yes.
Now,
you've done your research.
This is way unusual, so we've got to hear about this.
I'm working with a restaurant in Sweden, and their like special burger for March is a chèvre chaud burger, a goat's cheese burger, which I created. And like with every burger sold, our foundation gets five Swedish crowns, which is not much, but I mean,
I hope they're healthy burgers.
They are actually, and they're selling a lot of burgers there. So I'm hoping that it could generate
that's
a lot.
That's a really unusual way of fundraising. I have to say that's really cool, really cool. Now you're a man for a challenge, Måns. There's no doubt about that. I mean, if we go back to when you started your career on television, doing Idol in 2005, that was a challenge. Then you did Let's Dance, and you won that. Came second, or I can't. No,
I won Let's Dance.
Yes. You do tennis, football, golf. You play, but at the moment, and as we sit here in London on the day of the UK national final, we're only about a week and a day away from a massive challenge that you've taken on, and that you took on, I think, maybe in an interview or something, when you won Melody Festivalen. Tell us about
I said
that
if I were to win Melody Festivalen last year, I said that I would do the Swedish Classic, which.
So tell people what it is for those who don't.
It starts with a 90-kilometer cross-country skiing race.
I'm feeling worn out already.
Yep. Then it's a 300-kilometer cycling race. Then it's swimming upstreams 3 kilometers, and then it's running 30 kilometers. And that's the Swedish Classic. And I'm starting with the skiing now. I've never skied in my life, only downhill, never like cross country.
Because this is cross country skiing, yes.
So I started two weeks ago, and 90 kilometers is a long way.
It's a hell of a long way. But the event, in a way, is staged a bit like the big marathons and the London Marathon, where there are elite skiers who do that all the time, long distance skiing. But then the amateurs and the ones who trained up like you can join in as well. It's a major event.
At 8 o'clock on next Sunday, I think 17,000 skiers are gonna leave Sälen, which is one of the places, and go to Mora, which is 90 kilometers away. And it's probably the biggest challenge of my life. But
and there's been a lot of hard work behind the scenes into that, because you've been dieting, you've been doing ridiculously terrible exercises and pounding your body to bits, I think.
Yes,
basically.
I have, but I'm feeling well now, and I'm feeling that I'm getting there. I've tried doing 40 kilometers at the most, and that works. So it's just 50 more, and then I'm there. just you say it so casually, Måns, but I'm dreading 1 kilometre of cross-country skiing will kill me, I think. In between times, of course, there's a music career to deal with as well. Now, I think you've been
doing some stuff in the studio, taking your healthy foods with you as well, and recording some new tracks in the studio.
Yeah.
I'm not a marketing man, but if I was in Music Mogul, I'd say, I think you need a new track when you're going to be appearing in front of 200 million people in May.
Yes.
Would we be a million miles away?
No, definitely not. That's what I'm aiming for, and I'm trying to find that single, trying to write that single now. Because I need something to follow up with Heroes with, and I need something as powerful, as epic as Heroes was, and that's not an easy task. But I think we've found that song now, and I'm also planning on releasing an EP sometime near Eurovision, and yeah, it's gonna be fun because I want to go on another European tour next summer, next fall as well.
And another album in view eventually, I guess.
Yeah, I think, for the fall.
Excellent. Now, the main thing we've got to focus on this year, you're appearing tonight at the UK Eurovision final, the first televised one we've had since 2010, so very different to the way things are done in your own country with Melody Festivalen, which is the Eurovision selection show to beat them all. But this year, of course, you're going to be hosting the Eurovision Song Contest. So have you had some preparations for that already?
Yeah, we've had a couple of meetings, but most of all I'm just very happy that I get to do it with Petra, who's a good friend of mine. I really love her, and I think she's a genius on stage as well. So I think I'm going to feel really safe up there with her, and but the real preparation starts.
Plus 20,000 fans screaming as well.
Yes, that will. That
you know
will
what
help.
Eurovision fans are like. You know what they're like. So
I love them, and that's actually one of the reasons why I said yes to this as well. To be able to stay in the Eurovision bubble for at least a bit more, because like when I was in Vienna, it was 2 weeks of just interviews, and I never really got to enjoy it that much. But I'm hoping that I'll get to enjoy the bubble more this time.
It must be slightly less frantic being the host, I guess, in a way.
I'm guessing so, yes.
Yeah. It's been absolute pleasure to talk to you, Måns. There's just one thing I'd like to say. In London, one of the things people are often talking about is who's going to play the next James Bond.
Yes.
Now, we've got a man here who's good looking, absolutely fit, sporting, and all this kind of stuff, right? But what we haven't got, we know you can do acting, you've been in musical theatre and all this, but what we haven't heard is whether or not you can do a British accent. So we need to hear you ordering a vodka martini shaken not stirred in a British accent, and to see if we can give you the job as James Bond. How about that?
Okay. I'd like a vodka martini, shaken, not stirred, please.
That's it. I'll send you the script tomorrow, start filming Monday.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks ever so much, Måns. It's been brilliant. Thanks very much for talking to us. We really appreciate it. Enjoy your performance tonight, and we'll see you in Stockholm.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.